90 or 95% of our revenue comes from soccer, from football.
Right.
So football is as you know, the most popular sport in Brazil and in the world as well. And the Brazilians are crazy for soccer, for football. So
I
so
can
we
imagine.
work very close with the clubs, with the federations, with the athletes as well, sponsorship.
Hi everyone, and welcome back to the Sporting Global podcast. And today I'm here with Fábio Wolff. And Fábio, it's a pleasure having you here, and thanks for taking the time. How's everything going?
Everything is going all right. Thanks for the invitation, and we enjoy our conversation today.
Absolutely, it's a pleasure having you part of us, and we're going to dive into, of course, like a little bit on your experience, your journey in the sport industry, some of the cool things that you've been working on with Wolff Sports and marketing, and like first and foremost, like just tell us a little bit how your journey in the sport industry began. Just take us, I guess, to where it all started.
Okay, I have been working on this industry for 26 years.
Wow.
So I did my master's in Liverpool, sports industry in 2001, and then in 2003 I started teaching. So I teach as well. So at Televisão Escola de Negócios. So I teach in a MBA. It's related to management and marketing and sports marketing.
Right.
So I have been teaching for 18 years, and I have been working, as I said, for 26 years on this industry. Mm-hmm. And so in 2006, I set up the Wolff Sports. So we have 16 years, and our focus is, our core business is related to sponsorship.
Right.
So we work in sponsorship in Brazil, mainly in soccer, football. Mm-hmm. But we do some other sports as well.
Right. And I mean, like, I guess as a Brazilian, it makes sense that football is the it's the main sport in a sense.
Yeah, it is. It is. 90 or 95% of our revenue comes from soccer, from football. Right. So football is as you know, the most popular sport in Brazil and in the world as well. And the Brazilians are crazy for soccer, for football. So we work very close with the clubs, with the federations, with the athletes as well. Sponsorship, networking, corporate hospitality, activation. So and organizing events as well.
That's awesome. And I mean, like, it's for those of you that are tuning in and are a fan of the sponsorship segment, I mean, like, it's just buckling up, and be ready for what Fabio is ready to share here. So let's dive a little bit more into, obviously, your role as the director of Wolff Sports and marketing. And if you wanted to like map out, I guess, like you talk a little bit about some of your core priorities, but if you wanted to just lay out a little bit, what are some of your key responsibilities? What are some of your tasks that you're doing for Wolff Sports and marketing?
So as a partner of the company, the only one, I have to manage the whole company. So I like very much the marketing stuff, commercial stuff, but I have to manage the company as everything.
Right.
So, but as I said, I like the commercial communication and marketing stuff.
Mhm. Yeah, it's always the fun stuff, you know.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, there's a lot of business, you know, legal stuff and all that
Uh,
involved as well.
but I like to have contact with the clients to, to invite the clients to a match, to
right.
do the PR stuff.
Yeah, yeah. And that's
Yeah.
it's very important too, especially I think in the sponsorship
Uh-huh.
segment. It's just like, you know, having that relationship built, you know, with your clients, you know, and we're gonna talk a little bit more about, you know, how you're working and maintaining, you know, those kind of partnership too. But I wanted to talk, and also you mentioned, you worked in the industry for more than 26 years, and you know, and focus a lot on the development of digital marketing. And I guess looking back to, like, I guess your history with Wolff Sports and marketing, and also before that, what have been some of your key lessons, you know, about the industry so far? Probably a lot, but if you want to just, you know, map out like some key lessons you learned along the way.
The key lessons regarding the digital marketing, right?
Hmm.
Digital marketing is something new. So I have been reading some books.
All right.
So the technology is developing very fast. So it's important to read, to study, and since the coronavirus started in March 20, right?
So
So
2019.
yeah, I have been reading a lot, studying a lot, because we are not prepared to face what we have been facing since. So I think the industry in Brazil has been growing very fast since the coronavirus started.
Right.
So I think we have many lessons from the digital. One of is that you have to be updated all the time about the digital,
Right.
the social digital, the move. You have to move as fast as technology is growing. And so we were like accommodate here. Our the main marketing is football, soccer, and the clubs are not 100% professional.
Right.
Still not. So maybe with some change that we have been facing through the last 3-4 months, that some foreigners have been making some offers to some in traditional clubs like Botafogo, like Vasco, and other ones.
Right.
Probably we will have a more professional league, more professional way of manage the day-to-day. And social, unfortunately, was not priority when the coronavirus started,
Right.
So
you feel kind of like, just to follow up, I guess, or dig a little bit deeper in that. So you feel kind of like, I guess, the professional teams in Brazil have, utilized the pandemic as a way of, boosting, I guess, their digital marketing strategies from it, or like, is it?
The thing is that when the coronavirus started, the clubs were they used to give good value for the brand awareness, for the the trade on the t-shirts, the publicity around the pitch, but they were not prepared for the social. So it's nowadays the companies, they look for opportunities to sponsor, but they want to have their clients close. The way to have their clients close is sponsorship, not brand awareness. Brand awareness is not enough to provide this. So the clubs noticed this at the beginning, as I said, at the beginning of the coronavirus time, but it was not the best way.
It was a big factor, for not only the clubs, right, but also for the sponsors, in a sense, where I think the demands, of the sponsors and the brands also became higher, over time, with just the impact the digital presence had. And obviously, once you sort of like have your, I guess, initial brand strategy or sponsorship strategy, where it was all so focused on people being in the stadiums, right? And you suddenly just take all that away. So you have to change, right? And as you were saying, like technology and innovation and digital media has always kind of been there, and it's just got boosted even further. And that's a very key point, for sure.
The only way to activate to the sponsorship at the beginning and during some time of this time was or has been through the digital. So
right, 100%. And I wanted to move on a little bit into like in terms of like the sports marketing agency, you guys, and done obviously partnerships the last 4 years with all the biggest teams, in the state of Sao Paulo, like Corinthians, Palmeiras, Santos and Sao Paulo. I think for those that are not Brazilian, at least they know about Corinthians, Palmeiras, and Santos. And and I guess, like, what are some of the key metrics you're using, to maintain, these partnerships, helping the clubs understanding, the importance and the value of what you guys are doing?
Nowadays, we have partnership contracts with Corinthians, Santos, and Palmeiras, not with São Paulo. We have a good relationship with these three clubs. Wolff Sports is one of the players of the markets. So we have a good network. The way we develop our business, our service is through a professional way. So this is the reason why we have good relationship with the clubs, with good contracts. So not only with these three clubs. Nowadays we have 10 clubs under sponsorship with our clients. We have, for instance, Avaí, Ituano is a countryside club in São Paulo. We have Inter de Limeira, another one countryside club, belongs to the state of São Paulo. CSA, it's a club from Alagoas. So
and so if you wanted to go a little bit into, I guess, those smaller clubs and working with not only, of course, like the smaller brands, but also multiple sports through sponsorship and activation in Brazil, like what I guess, in a sense, how did the smaller clubs and and sports sort of like, react to the pandemic, react to, you guys coming in, helping here, like understanding, I guess, like the value and the growth of sponsorship, digital marketing, having this sort of, you guys involved in the industry? Because obviously, as you were saying, networking, the word of mouth and all these factors is a huge part, but it's a difference between the professionalism in those major clubs compared to, lower end clubs and the sports that doesn't necessarily have the revenue, the sponsorship contracts to begin with.
The thing is that football was the first sport in Brazil to return.
Right.
So to the necessity, the economic of the clubs were in a very tough way. Mm-hmm. So football was the first one to return. And then volleyball and other sports. So the pandemic has been a very tough time not for the Brazilian sports, but for the whole world.
100%.
And so the clubs, the small clubs, for instance, they have problems. Not only the clubs, but the agencies. So some agents, some sports marketing agents in Brazil bankrupt. Right. But some leagues were in trouble. They have been looking desperately for new sponsors, for new revenue,
right,
in order to pay the account. That it's a complicated time. It's a very difficult time for everyone here.
Mm-hmm.
But the biggest clubs, they have the money from the TV. Here in Brazil, the big clubs, the clubs that belong to the first league, Serie A, that we mm-hmm. call, they make like 40% of their total revenue comes from TV.
Right.
So the TV paid some amount during the more tough time of the coronavirus or pandemic. Mm-hmm. So the clubs were able to pay their main debits. But at this time now, we have the bets legal is under approved to the Brazilian government. So the bets, they have been investing a lot, not only the bets, but fund tokens and cryptos as well. So the clubs are making good money. The year is this year in Brazil. It's not a normal year. Like it's not ordinary year. It's a political year. So we have elections. So, but it has been a good year for the clubs, for the agents, because some companies have been, as I said, for instance, the bets, they have been investing a lot of money in the Brazilian market.
That's great, and it's good to see kind of like, I guess, the sport, the business, coming back in action. And also you talked a lot about the challenges, the things that have been you guys have been facing during the pandemic. Let's talk a little bit about the opportunities that you see, coming, in the next, few years in the Brazilian market. What are some of the, upcoming and positive things you see moving forward now?
I think that our marketing has been growing.
Mm-hmm.
So there are many opportunities here because, as I said, we are not 100% professional,
right?
And we have big potential. And so I think there is a lot of things to happen, a lot of opportunities to appear, to some that needs to be more needs to be well worked. So social is one of these opportunity. For instance, we used to have like one big network holding the main TV contracts. So that is TV Global. And nowadays we have many streamings, many new players working and negotiating and dealing these contracts. So we have some opportunities to the streaming. We have opportunities through the sponsorship. As I said, our market used to be very focused on brand awareness, and nowadays the players, they have been noticing or understanding that the importance of the content, to create content, and the companies, they want to exchange experience with the fan. So we have been working a lot to provide this. For instance, we have an event in Brazil that is called Brazil Ladies Cup. That is a female tournament. It is a female week that we organize a week to talk about the female football. So we have activation, we have social activation, we have lectures, and we have, of course, the tournament as well. So we work very close to the sponsors in order to provide them the opportunity to activate, to have this exchange experience with their friends. So I think the market has been growing, and it's gonna be more professional. It has been changing very fast, and the pandemic is one of the responsibles for this.
For sure. I mean, like, nobody expected this to happen, but at the same time, you just have to adapt, right, to the situation and overcome the hurdles along the way. And for, you guys at Wolff Sports and Marketing, like, how do you see your future? Do you, obviously, you've been primarily, focusing on the football industry and now, going more into other sports as well, but do you kind of like, thinking about like, going more internationally, like, or staying kind of like more in South America? Like, what are some of the plans that you have moving forward?
It's very difficult to plan and say about the future when you leave this time that the world has been living, pandemic, war, and it's a tough time. 100%. But I'm very pleased with the way that Wolff Sports has been growing. We have been growing fast, and we are doing new things. For instance, we have started working with management and commercial career of some athletes.
Nice.
Regarding to sponsorship, and we have some clients that we have been doing business for more than 10 years.
That's
So
awesome.
it's a mature time of the company, and we are very happy with this. And I used to think about the future planning, but as soon as this pandemic started, I decided to keep my mind on today,
Right.
tomorrow, next week, next month,
Yeah.
but not so far from next month.
Makes a lot of sense. You never know what's going to happen
Yeah,
in a month or so. But
yeah,
I mean, like, I think that leads us perfectly to just talking a little about, tips, advice you're having, for students, looking for a career in sports marketing world, maybe working with football and marketing. Um, First of all, what tips do you have for them? And second, like, how do you stand out today? Because I mean, like, it's a very attractive industry, growing fast. A lot of people want to work with it, work in it. What are some tips you have?
the first tip is to study. Study,
Mhm.
it's an important thing. Do a summer course, or do an MBA, or make some network. Is very important to have opportunities on this industry.
100%.
And never expect seated that your phone is gonna ring with a great opportunity of your life. Never.
Right.
You have to look forward. You have to go forward. You have to study. You have to
Mhm.
make network, and do some network. And this happened with me. So as soon as as I had the opportunity, or when I had the opportunity, sorry for my English, but when I had the opportunity, the first opportunity to work in this industry, it wasn't the dream opportunity, the
Right.
one that I was expecting. So I grabbed, and then I started working with sports, and
Mhm.
then uh, and when you are in the industry, it's different, because you started making doing some network, and then with the important thing is to love what you do. This is important.
100%.
To work is not a tough thing to me. It's a hobby.
Right.
I
Right.
love sports marketing, so work it's a hobby to me, and that's it. I think these are the tips.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's super important, and I think especially today as well, in order to stand out, is that have that knowledge, and I guess if you wanted to, like, go a little bit more specific from like a sponsorship angle, what are some things that the upcoming sport professionals, leaders should kind of think about from a sponsorship side, maybe research, or like kind of look into when they're going into this industry?
It's difficult to say. I think that you have to follow the technology. That looking for the technology, then we will probably have new opportunities, or new jobs that we don't have today.
Oh yeah.
So it's difficult to say. Brazil is, as I said, our sports industry has been growing, but in comparison to United States, or in comparison to, for instance, the Premier League, we are so far away, so far away. So whenever I have the opportunity to travel abroad and go to a match, or a football match in England, or a basketball match in United States, every time I have, I look too many, opportunities or ideas or benchmarks that, I bring to Brazil and try to do it here, but it's difficult. So maybe this question is not to me, maybe to an American, the one person involved in American sports. It's gonna be more ready to answer this question.
But I think it's important what you're kind of like, talking about too, in a sense. It's just getting that inspiration, right, from the countries, from like, the leagues, the teams, that are doing this really well. Because I think, the aspect of, and you touch about this too, in terms of knowledge, right, of like obtaining the knowledge, is like, look at the teams, look at the leagues that are, ahead of this, and they're ahead of the game. And maybe you can, say you're in Brazil, okay, try to take that back into, your market, into your, maybe favorite team, like the team you want to work for. And I think that's a really good, approach that you're having, and angle as well. And another thing is, like, as you were kind of like going into as well, is learning never stops. You keep learning, you keep, getting that inspiration from all these, sports, those countries, that are excelling. But a lot of opportunities, a lot of good insights, and a lot of good knowledge. And before we wrap up, I don't know if you have like any final remarks before we wrap up.
Well, I think that's it. If you have any more questions, I'm ready to answer.
Awesome. Well, Fabio, with that, I would like to, thank you, so much for the time, for sharing your story and your insights with everyone here. And for those of you, that have been listening all the way, at the end, make sure to like the video if you haven't, subscribe as well to our YouTube channel. Every week, you're getting tips and insights from leaders like Fabio, sharing their insights and knowledge. And if you haven't already, make sure to sign up at sportingglobal.com. It's free to sign up, and you can build your network. You can, gain knowledge and find relevant opportunities in the industry. And there's always, some Brazilian people, some Brazilian opportunities there, startups that are recruiting. So, if you're looking for a job, if you're looking to, tap into the sponsorship market, reach out to Fabio as well, and you will get like some great insights and tips. So thank you so much, Fabio. I really appreciate it. And yeah,
thank you very much, Ole, for the opportunity, and it was a pleasure. And that's it.
Awesome. Well, I have one final challenge question for you. That we do with all our podcast guests. So I have to learn you a little bit Norwegian, as we are a Norwegian company after all. And so with every video we do, we always finish with "Vi snakkes," which means "see you later" in Norwegian. So that's what you gotta say.
Okay. So I have to say it. Vish. Can you repeat, please?
Yeah. Vi snakkes.
Vi snakkes.
There you go. Good job.
Yeah, okay. Good.
All right.
Great. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Fabio. We'll talk soon. All right.